Oh my friends, hello everybody. We today going to be discussing season 2 of the Buccaneers, but to get to the point where season 2 kicked off, we need to be running back a little bit every character and the storyline. So let's start with the Duke of Tintagel. And the Duke of Tintagel is a character portrayed by actor Guy Remmers. Basically, he is the central figure and pursued by the American Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers, a group of young women seeking husbands in England, 5 women to be more precise. And actually, his mother is so desperately trying to match Theo with this woman. And at the beginning of season 1, we getting this like set up relationship or set up woman for Duke of Tintagel. And she's basically like her name is Jean Hopley, and she's trying to be like, suitable for Duke, and because of his title, of course, she aware of what title it is, the Duke. And this is the basic moment of pursuing future husband because of the title. And in England, basically every woman is trying to get as high as possible in terms of the most the highest rank of your husband is just defines your future. And he is not really willing to get to know her because he's trying to explain his mother that he's just tired of everyone going after his title and not personally because of his personality. And he's basically set up Jean Hopley with his best friend Guy, and basically he's trying to shift all the focus from himself to another man, and this way he can shift focus from Nan because basically Theo is in love with Nan. Nan is the still central figure in the Buccaneers. And if we try to understand more what actually what drives those women, the Buccaneers, and all the women who comes to find a husband in England, and why it's so desperate. And they are basically discussing that after the arrival of Americans, more specifically American women, in England, something has changed because now all the men, they want, especially high-ranked men, they want their wives to be more brave and to challenge them, to be challenged by their wife. So American women, they are more independent in terms of how they pursuing love, and they kind of spoiled those British men. And now Jean, she's struggling because of that. She's struggling to find a husband because she was told to be as quiet as possible and just uh, as well as Honoria. Honoria is a sister of a Lord Richard, and she is like the most conservative probably character in this TV show, as well as Jean Hopley. But they are together discussing the most like vital changes in terms of how now pursuing husband in England becomes impossible because of the arrival of Americans. And Honoria basically pointed out that at the start of getting to know those Buccaneers who arrived in England, she actually thought that they were too much like, behaving like inappropriately. But after that, she just realized that probably it's not them behaving that way, but it's herself is so restrained by standards of British elite, or something. So, and this way, like, you can better understand how like the main differences between American and British, especially at that point of history. And basically this is a fiction, of course. There is no actual like character, and every character based on a novel, and the novel is something that was unfinished, but it actually received pretty well, and this is why it gets adaptation, and we are getting this new season. So the character Lizzy Emsworth is the eldest daughter and sister to Mabel, and she is on the hunt for a man along with the rest of her close girlfriends. And she is basically got in the huge trouble in season 1 with Lord Seadown. Lord Seadown is basically the main villain, let's say, because he was the most terrible character in season 1, and he still remains probably that way. But he basically put Lizzy in the situation when she misunderstood his intentions, and she thought that he was going to like getting to know her, or even probably engage her or something, like, propose to her. But it turns out that his intentions was probably something like pretty dark, and he was just staring at her lying on the bed, and she was basically fully undressed, and he was just there sitting and staring at her. At some point he just disappeared, and after he disappeared, she realized that he just played her so badly, and she was sharing those feelings with Guy Thwart, because they were spending like a week or something, like weekend at Guy's place, and they were like in his kitchen or something discussing everything, and she shared all the personal that happened to her with this Seadown, Lord Seadown. And Lord Seadown is the heir of Lord Bridlingsea. Oh my god. If I remember correctly, it pronounced Bridlingsea. Not Bridlingsea, but Bridlingsea. And Dick's brother. So he is the like one of those lords who is abusing his power, but basically he is the most abusing character in this TV show. And as character, he is pulling off, like the actor pulling off, it's like the perfect definition of a villain who is like, you know, driven by most stupid intentions, but like looking like well-mannered man, but you know, behind all that exterior, it's actually rotten, like inside rotten man. And he is colder than the average British lord. I would say he is just like the antagonist, you know, because you have to have antagonist. If you have protagonist, it's most likely Nan, because she's the like the central figure, and she's the like definitely good character, good person, so kind. And if we need antagonist, it's definitely Lord Seadown. And Jinny is the older sister to Nan St. George. But unlike her sister, unlike Nan, Jinny is more reserved and proper, making her a more desirable match for lords. And basically the drama between Lizzy and Jinny in season 1 was because Lord Seadown basically was trying to confuse Jinny in terms of how he felt towards her, because he was trying to, you know, hit on Lizzy, but he was not fully open in terms of his intentions again, and he was trying to like play them both, you know, and he did play them because he was dancing with Lizzy, and Jinny was so jealous of that, and she was trying to like get any attention from Seadown, but he was so like stubborn. And I mean, like, this is psychological, like, you know, strategy. Basically, this is like the step he made to show like how he's so like, you know, not willing to jump into like any relationship immediately, but since he is a lord, like they should be jumping into that possibility, but not him. Like he was basically trying to like get them fighting for him, and he managed to do that, and they were literally just fighting for him because Jinny is like very focused on marrying, and she often criticizes Nan's actions because basically Nan is so overshadowing Jinny, because Jinny considering Nan more attractive and so put together, but like it of course hinders Jinny's prospects of finding a suitable husband, because when your sister is like getting more attention than you are, it's definitely something bothering you so much. And this time it wasn't even her sister who just, you know, bothers her, but Lizzy. And Lizzy is basically her friend, but when your friend is getting attention from the man you like, she basically resorted to offenses. Like she told Lizzy that Jinny is basically offering beauty and charm, and Lizzy basically asks her, like, in what you think I'm offering, and Jinny told her, like, whatever you're offering, but she pointed out that beauty and charm is not what you're offering. But it was pretty offensive in terms of treating your friend the way, like, the way that, like, sounds pretty harsh. And Nan St. George is a young, wealthy American woman and the youngest daughter, but not biological daughter, of Patty St. George. And this, like, unlike Jinny, marriage is the last thing on Nan's mind, but her behavior, authentic behavior, attracts two very different men and lands her in some interesting predicaments. And those two men basically is Guy Thwart, well known from recent movie My Fault London, and basically she's falling in love with Guy Thwart, but not Theo, the Duke. And because of the probably simplicity of the character Guy, he is more suitable in terms of the Nan's character, because Nan is so like high spirit, like character. She's so like spontaneous, and she likes probably someone who fits that energy, And Duke, he's more reserved. He's like most probably, I actually think that Duke Theo, he would be like way better with Nan's sister Jinny, because they are both like reserved, and they are both like looking for like partner. But of course we need drama, we need like two like men fighting for a woman, and we get in this. And this, like, the time when they were at Guy's place, they got so close, and that was like the first moment probably when they actually just realized that there is something bigger, there is something like between. And Guy Thwart in season 1, he was like experiencing the most probably terrible time, because he lost his mother, and his father calls on him to help with the estate because they were losing the house. And basically all the financial and emotional turmoil, like was so like pressuring Guy. But a part of this, he found out that Nan never received like telegram from him, because he was declaring the love. He was like sending love letter to Nan, but Theo just intercepted. Somehow he found out that this letter from Guy, and it should be never received by Nan, because Theo, he didn't want to get into trouble with his best friend, and he didn't want to get into a love triangle. Excuse me. So this is what Guy Thwart character is. And Actually, Theo managed to propose to Nan without telling his title, so she accepted. She said yes without even knowing that he is a duke. He is the Duke of Tintagel. And basically, this is what he was looking for. Someone who would not going for his title, but for some other reason, like. And Nan turns out to be that person. So Guy was so late, basically, and a lot of pressure on his shoulders, just made him like thinking twice, and he was late because of just he needed just a little bit more determination, and this is like what his character basically lacking, some determination and something like probably something from his Nick character from My Fault London, when he's so like straightforward and just going like for what he wants. Basically, in this TV show, he's playing the opposite of that Nick. And Honoria character is the sister of Lord Richard, as I told before, and Lord Richard is Conchita's husband. So basically, season 1 started with marriage of Lord Richard and Conchita, and actually that kicked off everything that happened after, because Conchita basically and Lord Richard, they invited those five women, or 4 because Conchita is one of those. They invited Buccaneers to England, and this is how it played out, or something like, because of the Conchita's marriage, everything like ended up where it is now. And Honoria and Mabel, basically they are still hiding in season 2, and I'm not surprised because they are so closeted, especially Honoria is reserved, and since her family is not so like, they are not so close to her. They are not even talking too much. And in season 2, we get the moment when she's so like trying to communicate with the father, but her father is basically like someone, like she would never be coming out to her parents because of what figures they are. And in season 2, we understand better why she only came out to her like girlfriend Mabel and nobody else. But Mabel, she actually came out to her sister Lizzy in season 1, and since she is forced basically to go back to New York, she was trying to explain Honoria that they have no future, because if she doesn't marry anybody in England, she needs to leave. She has to leave England soon. And this puts her in this predicament when she accepted proposal from this guy. I don't even know his name, but she accepted his proposal because of that reason. This way she can stay in England permanently as his wife. And of course, this triggered Honoria, and after that, they got this moment to reveal that actually she's not getting marry him because she's not actually like choosing that, you know, traditional way. Since they are together, they are trying to find out a way to make it work without marrying anybody, but like to be together, probably hiding, but staying away from those, you know, expectations from their parents, because everybody wants their children to marry a duke or lord, and this is basically like why they are hiding, because nobody would understand that two women together, and at that period that would probably be unacceptable for both sides, American and British. And Theo, the Duke of Tintagel, basically, after he proposed, Nan accepted, and there is a wedding. And at this wedding, everything turns out to be not as intended, because basically Nan accepted that proposal, being in love with Guy Thwart, and she accepted that as a marriage of convenience, or most probably as the marriage to save her sister and keep her away from Lord Seadown, because Lord Seadown proposed to Jinny in season 1, and of course Jinny accepted that proposal immediately, because marriage again was the first thing on her mind in season 1. Excuse me, I need to close windows because it's so windy and it's so just disturbing me. But after Jinny accepted proposal from Seadown, Lizzy actually was like one of those who questioned if this marriage is gonna be healthy marriage, because the healthy relationship between any woman and Seadown is unlikely, because what person he is, and because of his moment with Lizzy, she was of course so like worry about what Jinny gets into, and she basically told Jinny that you need to stay away from that man. And after Jinny found out that Lizzy was pretty like reasonable, you know, because eventually Jinny, she was forced to leave, escape from getting married to Seadown, and she escaped with Guy Thwart in this carriage, and they are leaving probably England for the sake of well-being, you know. And Seadown basically found out that his wife just left him and being pregnant from him, because she is basically carrying his child, and anytime soon she will give birth to that child, and that means that she will be just probably chased by Seadown forever, because he knows that she is the mother of his child, and it's just, something you cannot accept, that your wife just left you and took your child. And for those English men, it's of course a huge problem. So in season 2, Guy Thwart helped and still helping Jinny St. George to stay away from her husband, or just from Lord Seadown, because they never got married eventually. And Nan's mother turns out to be not who she thinks she is, because basically Patty St. George is just stepmother or just adoptive mother, because she was basically taking care of Nan, because Patty's sister is the actual biological mother of Nan, and Patty's sister just fallen out 19 years ago, and Nan basically was never even aware of her actual mother, what person that is. And she was told by her sister that Nan's biological mother is not Patty St. George. And that secret was revealed due to Jinny, and she probably told that with some intention to hurt Nan, because she was so jealous of Nan's in general. But turns out that Nan's biological mother actually attends the marriage of Nan and the Duke of Tintagel, Theo. And Patty St. George, she got wind that her sister, Nan's biological mother, is here, and in season 2 we got her revealed, and she looks like this, and her name Nell. And basically that means that Nell basically was sleeping with Patty St. George's husband, and basically Nan was born due to that affair. So she was not basically supposed to be marrying Duke, because to marry Duke you need to be you need to be not from affair, because it's not acceptable. It's unacceptable for British standards at that point. They just, they made some type of agreement with Theo's mother that she would marry him, and this way Theo's mother would save Jinny and keep everything as a secret, because Theo's mother basically, she knew that Theo's mother, she knew that Nan, she was having an affair with Guy Thwart behind Theo's back or something, when Theo was fully unaware of that, that his best friend just hooking up with this with his girlfriend Nan, or even wife at that point, or future wife, it's still the same, because it's affair and it's a huge problem for Nan, and she just agreed with the Dukes of Tintagel mother that she would marry him, but in return, Jinny's safety, and Nan would never bring up anything about that she married Theo for the wrong reason. And in season 2, season 1 again, the only episode that came out, Nan's mother, Nell, she was actually getting close to Nan, and she even made up with Nan's stepmother, Patty St. George. And Nell and Patty, they are sisters, so they should be getting along, and they made up, and now all the argument between them seems to be closed. And after that, she leaves this place, and she basically revealed that 19 years ago she fallen out, and it's a long time for two sisters to be separate, and Nan probably realized that there is something wrong about this 19 years separation of two sisters. And I think that she will understand in future episodes that probably her aunt Nell is not actually what she pretends to be, because aunt Nell, her biological mother, she said that she would not tell Nan that she is her mother, and she would keep it as a secret. But she only did that because she didn't want to be some kind of pity prop, let's say. I don't know what it means, but I think that he did that because of this is just not the right moment for this, But it means that she will reappear again, and she will get her moment again to finally reveal that she is her mother. And after that, Guy thwarts, not him, but Theo and Nan, they got close, probably first time since he proposed to her. And at the same time, we have some moments from her encountering with Guy Thwart from season 1. And this is just for reminding that Guy is actually the one she loves, not the Theo. And the Duke of Tintagel Theo is basically just a current husband. But at some point, probably we will get that triangle, and we will see how Guy Thwart getting Nan out of that marriage, or probably we will see a huge argument, or probably even fights between two men. And since Theo found out that Guy Thwart basically has to do something with Nan, and basically he found that napkin and on that cloth, and that piece of clothes was Guy's name, and he realized that there is something wrong with this, and he asked his mother why I found just Guy Thwart's napkin in a coat at my place, and he left long ago. Why it's still here if he left like a while ago? It makes no sense for this coat to be here. It means that he left with leaving his coat at Duke's place, and his mother basically, she needs to cover that secret. She needs to keep Theo, her son, away from that, from the fact that his wife and Guy, they were having an affair, and that agreement should be working. So this is why she told him that was just by an accident, he just left it, and that's all. And in season 2 we are getting Lizzy and her new secret loved one, but he was secret only first time they met. She was realizing that there is some man who is so attractive, and she was probably willing to get to know him better, and he was kind of good looking, kind looking, and he was the opposite of Lord Seadown, because Lord Seadown is just probably weird. He is just weird in terms of everything he does, from the way he looks to the what he was doing to all those women, basically manipulating everyone. But this guy seems to be more genuine and seems to be attracted to Lizzy from the moment they met. And the next time they met was actually when he was attending the House of Commons, and he's like the member of Parliament or something. So he is just in those circles of high-ranked men who's probably, rich and of course looking for a wife. And his name is Hector Robinson, who is a politician and falls in love with Lizzy, of course. And we can see that this relationship is gonna be a healthy one, because they are both matching each other so well, with the energy being a healthy energy, not the toxic energy that was with Lord Seadown. And next person who actually getting some development in season 2 was Mabel and Honoria, and their relationship basically was so suffocating from them hiding forever and being suffocated by hiding is just getting them so upset, because there is something even bigger Honoria gets some trouble with her family's financial moments because they are struggling with assets and they need to sell something or to find a way from crisis or something like this, and this putting some pressure on her as well. And Honoria's mother is the figure who is just, like always popping out behind Honoria's back to see if she did something wrong. So Honoria is, because of that, is so reserved person. She's like the definition of closeted lesbian because she is not like anywhere close to be coming out. And probably in season 2 she will come out, but it seems more unlikely. And the way they even ignoring her when all the family gathered to discuss the assets and the financial problems, the way they treating her is just proving that she is not fully a part of this family. She is most probably, being treated as a child who is just, exists within this family, but never does any serious or any big she never seems to be comfortable in presence of her family. But her brother's wife, Conchita, seems to be the opposite. She's so confident, and since she is a wife of a Lord Richard, she's taking care of the assets and getting the family financial situation better. And to fix all the things, she found out that there is no way they could sell out assets like horses or paintings, and she found out the other way. And the solution she found out was actually these two women she met before. She met two American women, and basically they were for the same reason as every American woman was in England at that point, looking for a husband. And basically they immediately recognized her because of her wedding in New York was so notable, and they just introduced themselves. And specifically this younger lady is looking for a husband, her name Cora, and Cora needs to be taught how to please British men and how to act accordingly in England. She needs someone who would show you how to be that desirable wife for British lords. And Conchita, of course, Conchita is that person who can show her how everything works. And Conchita found out that Honoria's friend's husband is actually some rich man, and he's proprietor of a shop in America, probably some big business, some big like figure, and she of course used that as a way to fix her family's financial situation, because this like agreement between them, including Conchita, is teaching everything Cora. She is teaching Cora how to introduce herself, how to be like present in this society, and how to be like wanted for British men, and to teach her all the manners. In return, she will get some substantial sum of money from Cora and her friend. And this agreement works to fix Conchita's and her husband's, Lord Richard's, family situation. They need some money to put everything together without selling out assets, without losing any like paintings, any like, anything. Because probably British families were at that point so not willing to sell anything that seems to be worthy, seems to be, meaningful for them. And since they have a lot of assets, for Conchita, that seemed to be a way to solve financial problem. But as an American woman, she like thought that it's the easiest way to sell something out, because it just works eventually, because you will get some money. But for British, that would be like unacceptable again. So they found out only this way to get the financial problem fixed. And after that, we are getting the black and white ball, at which every character appears again, and we see Lizzy with her new Hector Robinson. Let's say I think they are already together, because I got some information from the original source, the novel, that they will even marry. And I think in season 2 we will see them getting married, and it's just inevitable because the novel just has this future for them. And since it's based on a novel, there is no other way they can just, make them together, but as a wife and a husband. So some pretty happy future seems to be for Lizzy character, and I'm so glad that after her trouble with Seadown and her terrible encountering with him, it seems to be finally she gets her moments and she gets her development, like in the most good, in the most like happy way, and as well as any other character, she gets her development. And we see that in season 2 it's probably more about some new characters getting a spot in this TV show, because this new character Cora seems to be some bigger part than just supportive character, because she gets already enough screen time in episode 1, and it seems to be going on in season next episodes. And it's actually a good moment, because if more new characters developed, the TV show just in general will be way more interesting to watch, because a part of 5 women, the central figures, we're getting some other characters. And this could be even possibly setting up for season 3 or something, because when more characters added, when more characters, new characters arriving, there is always a possibility for next season, and since it's getting received pretty well, most probably because episode 1 was probably decent and pretty good continuation of the ending of season 1. And I'm just looking forward to new episodes, and that was my first look at season 2, episode 1, and my opinion on every character and what actually it looks like at this point. And see you next time with more development of the Buccaneers season 2. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.